Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to remove the ring nut from inside your DT Swiss rear hub. So let's take a look. So here we have the DT Swiss wheel with the hub. Now this is using a 3-pull freer body, so like that. So any wheel that uses one of these will have that ring in there the same. Doesn't matter if it's a mountain bike wheel or a road wheel, makes no difference. This isn't a 240 or 350 hub that uses the ratchet freer body. This is, like I said, the 3-pull hub. So if you ever need to get the ring out of there, obviously you can see the wheel bearing down in there. Now there is a special tool for removing this out of the hub that you can purchase. Now that tool can be expensive, like if it's a DT Swiss genuine tool, they're about £50–60 to buy, so it's not exactly cheap just to undo that ring out of there if you ever need to. That bearing in there comes out. You don't have to remove this ring here to remove that bearing, so I'll show you that in a minute. But like I said, the DT Swiss tool can be expensive to buy. Now one way of undoing that is if you use one of these. It's just a Shimano, this Park tool socket for your cassette ring, lock ring tool. So this fits that ring in there like that, so it fits it exactly right size. So these are around sort of just over a tenner, say, for one of these, as opposed to 50–60 quid, and you can use this for your lock ring on your cassette. That's what it's for. So doubles up, and you can also use it for that. So I'll put the number of this tool in the description below the video, just in case you're interested, in the description box, which one it is to purchase if you need to do this with. Now what I'll do is I'll remove that bearing out of there. Like I said, it'll come straight through the middle of there, so if you're ever doing your wheel bearings you don't need to remove this ring, because that bearing comes out and goes back in there without removing that ring. So I'll show you that. That's simple enough to remove, but to remove this ring after I've removed that bearing, and the reason I remove that bearing is because this ring, over time when you're riding, these rings tighten up basically all the time you're riding. So they can be very tight to remove out of there. So what you need to do is, if you've got a heat gun or a hairdryer, anything like that, you need to warm up this ring, gently warming it. I'll show you. I'm going to use a blow lamp on it. But like I said, you can use a heat gun or a hairdryer, it's no problem. You need to warm that up to get it out, otherwise they can be really tricky to remove. They won't just come straight undone. And like I say, what I'm using is use the tool that will fit in the socket. See, this is a 26mm socket with a good 1.5 foot, 2 foot long bar to undo it with, otherwise you won't get it undone. So I'll just remove that bearing out of there just to show it coming out of there, or how to do it, and then we'll warm this up and remove that ring. So to remove the bearing, obviously I'm going to remove it because I'm going to be using heat on it, and all it's going to do is melt the seals on that bearing. So obviously if you put a new bearing in afterwards anyway, now's the perfect time to do it if your wheel bearing's feeling rough. So you can replace it anyway, but just to show you it coming out, what you want to do is put a block of wood on a hard surface to protect the hub, like that. Then you can just put the hub down, face down on it, and then get yourself a 13mm socket, little extension on it. If you can either use a shallow socket with a longer extension, whatever you've got, and just put that down in there and rest it on the centre of the bearing, down in the bottom there. And all you got to do is hit that down through. As you'll see, it comes out flush like that with the block of wood. So all you do now is just hold it above the block of wood slightly, just hold the wheel up, then just give it a tap just to get it out, like that. And there's the bearing, and there's obviously the ring still in there. So that bearing, like I said, comes out through there no problem. So now I'll just warm this up and remove the that ring. So there you go, you just heard it crack undone then. So now you can just carry on. And unscrew that out, you can see it's coming out. Right, so there we have the ring removed. So before you go ahead and refit this back in to the hub, just wipe that round in there, clean any old dirt out of it. And before you fit this back in, because that's a fine thread in there and it's aluminium and this is steel, so what you want to do is on the threads of this put some anti-seize grease on there before you put it back in. And then what you can do is, now that's out of the way, you can go ahead, if you're fitting a new wheel bearing, just put some grease in there, normal grease there, and just press your wheel bearing in, and then like I said, put some anti-seize on it, on the ring, on the threads, and then go ahead, and then you can refit your ring back in. So I say it's just clockwise, normal thread. Just make sure that when you're starting this off, make sure that you don't cross thread it, because like I said, the ring is steel and the hub is aluminium, so just make sure you take your time and get that started in there without cross threading that. So once you've got it started in there by hand, you can just carry on and just wind that in like that until it stops, and then obviously you can just use your socket again on there and just nip that up, because it's going to tighten itself up really tight anyway when you're riding. So just do that up. There's no need to put a massive bar on it, just to get your ratchet out and just nip that up. The other way you can tighten it up is also, if you've just got your freehand body, just engage that in there like that, and then use your freehand body and just do it up. With your cassette on there, you can put your chain whip on the cassette and tighten it up with that as well if you want to. So there you go, that's reinstalled. So I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.